Hey there, this is Daniel from WP-103 and today we have a fun one. Have you ever wondered how many plugins can you possibly install? Is there a limit? We're gonna find out the easy or the hard way. Let's go. But before we start, we're gonna have a look at the methods we're gonna use and also what can possibly happening or what are we looking for. So how many plugins can we install before something bad happens? Step number one is we're gonna install the plugins in batches, 10 at a time, just to save some time with installation. Then after each batch, we're gonna monitor and test. We have the dashboard, we have a page and a post. We're gonna test and see how fast these pages are. We also have a look at the error logs to see what kind of errors are coming up. And number three, which is continue until something breaks. And what will happen is we will have slowdowns, that's for sure. The more plugins, the more work for the web server, therefore it will slow down everything. We will run into fatal errors sooner or later. And last but not least, server crashes. And I'm looking forward to that, to just bring the whole server down and see if we can bring the machine to its limits. During my research, I asked Claude, what will happen if I do that? And it said basically activate all of them at once is the fastest way to make things interesting. Couldn't agree more. So let's go. In our VS Code, we have on top the error log. So we will check that after each batch, what kind of errors are coming up. And down here, system monitor to see how much we're gonna stress the system. Here is our brand new WordPress installation. We have a post and a page prepared. And currently there is only one plugin installed, which is Query Monitor. This will help us to monitor how long it takes for the website to load. I'm gonna start to install the first batch of plugins and I'm using the WP-CLI for that, just to make things a little bit easier. And the first set will be this one here. So we have our first problem already, but that's a permission problem. Let's have a look at the impact. We had 0.16 seconds before, and after a load, we're getting greeted with a setup screen. I always love those. So as you can see, this first batch slowed down the website quite a lot already. We went from 0.16 to 0.74 seconds. Let's have a look at the posts, how they look like. They didn't change, but we have the same numbers. Oh, even 2 seconds to load. That is very great. Or in that sense, bad. So far, the web server itself is not very impressed by that. Also, we don't get any errors yet. Very good. And this next batch contains WooCommerce, which is notorious for slowing the website down. So let's see how this goes. And we get our first PHP notice here. It's not too bad. So the sidebar starts to fill up quite bad already, and we're looking at a nice 4.62 seconds. But so far it looks like everything runs pretty stable. Number 3, and that makes 30 plugins after that. And by the way, the plugins are sorted by popularity, so we have the most popular plugins first and then we work our way through the lesser popular plugins. All plugins been installed, that's very good. So let's have a look at the website itself. Okay, still going strong. No onboarding screens, no crashes. That was not very exciting. So I guess to the next batch. 5 gigs used out of 62, so that could take a while. So after this batch, let's see how many plugins do we have. I cannot even find the plugins menu item anymore. There's so much now. Why are you harassing me again? So we're at 41 plugins now, and I'm surprised how smooth it still works. I mean, I have a website that has like over 60, I think 64 plugins installed, and it runs pretty okay. So I don't expect any big problems before we hit the 100 plugins mark, but we will see. But so far, everything looks pretty good. We can see a light but steady increase of the loading time itself. Yeah, and we're at 244 megabytes now. So here we have better search replace, file manager. These shouldn't be very bad. Code snippets, fastest cache. Oh, another caching plugins. That's always interesting if you have multiple caching plugins installed. And we have a server error. Very nice. 60 plugins it took. Wow. I didn't expect that. Invalid command header. So let's edit that file very quick, and I think we have the problem here. So let's delete this whole part here. We're not giving up that early, do we? So let's save. There we go. Okay, that doesn't count, I would say. It counts half a point. Okay, fine. And we got a lot of clutter here already, and the sidebar also fills up quite nicely. Okay, we're getting our first errors on display here. We have some deprecated messages here. But yeah, technically the site still works. What is this worker plugin? Manage WP worker. Oh, we even have a must-use plugin. What did install a must-use plugin? Apparently Manage WP, there we have it. A security plugin, that could be interesting once again, especially with other security plugins like WordPress already in place. Let's see what happens. It is generally not a good idea to install two plugins of a kind, like two caching plugins or two security plugins, so I would avoid that. Our server is just doing fine. We have 7 gigabytes used of our memory. Normally the query monitor should catch these kind of messages. Must-use plugins are getting loaded before the regular plugins, so that's why query monitor cannot catch it. So we're at 300, almost 310 megabytes now, and almost 2 seconds of load time, at least in the front end. And we get a ton of messages here, but all still good. Where is my dashboard button? I want to go, there it is. I don't like that when plugins are adding something above the dashboard. What is more important than the dashboard? And we can also see that Total Cache here saw that Super Cache is already installed, so it gives us a warning. But we don't want to deactivate anything. So we just leave it as is and we go to the next batch. So let's give this a load and see what our CPU is doing. Yeah, it's fine. We're at 8 gigs now, okay. And an onboarding screen. I couldn't wait for that. We're looking at 2.5 seconds in the front end and around 4.6 seconds in the back end. Of course, for a live website, this would be pretty unacceptable. All right, all installed. It still loads, but for some reason, we cannot see the whole dashboard anymore. Probably it's because of this pop-up maker. Front end still loads, and we're at 3 seconds now. Here we have the event calendar. That's a quite big plugin as well, but quite well tested, and I use it on many sites, so I don't expect any problems here. Maybe we have this security scanner that could make things interesting, but let's see. We're getting some errors here by the event calendar. Oh man, I spoke too early. Just try it again. We're not giving up that easily. Okay, the plugin could be activated. It wasn't installed, but it was activated now. Okay, we installed 9 of 10 plugins. Which one did fail? It was probably the event calendar that just got activated instead of installed. So I guess that's fine. And we're coming close to this 512 megabyte that I set in the PHP limit. After we hit 512 here, it shouldn't work anymore. So we're on 5 seconds pretty much. Oh, this is so slow. Oh yeah. No, thank you. Oh, there's so much. So half of the page is just like admin notices. That's really fun. Bloody hell, there is a lot. So we're at 101 plugins now, and the site is still going strong. Okay, we have a few new entries in our error log, but only notices, so that's not too bad. And we're at 6, almost 7 seconds, and there we have it. Another critical error. The front end is still working, so that's just that's half a win, I would say. But the backend is gone. It still works in the front end because here we're only at 492. So that means we can install a few more plugins. Let's go. We want to have also the front end down. Okay, after 10 more plugins, let's see if we can stress that one enough. Doesn't seem so. It looks like the query monitor couldn't be loaded anymore because of the PHP limit. So I think another 10 and then we have the front end down as well. So, but there is really only one way to find out. Let's go for the next batch. Not gonna lie, I feel a little bit sorry for that WordPress installation. I know it's just a machine, but still. Okay, there you have it. As you can see, it depends heavily on how high your PHP memory limit is to bring the website down like that. Most of the popular plugins are pretty great when it comes to compatibility because they're popular and they have many installs, so they're well tested. With lesser known plugins, this will be more of an issue that you run into fatal errors. As a good rule of thumb, I would just try to install as few plugins as possible. Every plugin will slow down your website. We saw that really nicely after each batch. The site took longer to load, and this is then something your users have to deal with, or you have to deal with by caching and stuff like that. But will this 512 megabyte of PHP memory limit stop us? Of course not. I bumped it to 2 gigabytes and I installed a bunch of plugins more. Let's see what happens. And we are looking at a total of 180 active plugins now, and things are starting to get really slow. As you can see, the whole terminal is now cluttered with messages and stuff like that. It looks like the event calendar makes some problems again. It really looks like we cannot install any more plugins via CLI. So we're 180 plugins in, and it looks like the CLI plugin installation just broke. We cannot install any more plugins, but maybe we can install more via the backend. We're not giving up that easily. Let's just start to install those. Yeah. Okay, that seems to work. It takes so long to load. Takes so freaking long to load. So we're looking at an easy peasy 9 seconds now. That's a lot. So if we scroll through the popular plugins, we can see we have every single one installed. But there are more pages, so we will find one that we haven't and we will install it. Okay, we have 36 more plugins to activate. Things are getting so slow here. I'm gonna regret that for sure. Not gonna lie, installing with the CLI was so much easier. Now this feels really slow and really painful, and let's see how long we're gonna do that for. And we made it. The backend is finally down, and also the front end showed this message after around 300 plugins. So I just deleted the folder of that plugin. Let's see if we can get it to load again. There we go. So we're looking at 305 active plugins. It's not too bad. What did we learn today? We can install many plugins. Should we? Probably not. That's it for that video. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like and do all that interaction stuff, and I see you in the next one.